I think, look, he's been brilliant, don't get me wrong, but if there's 100 million quid for him, I think you snap their hands.
100%. I've always described Bruno Fernandes as a great talent, but not a great player. In that, he's a bit, as you say, but as you say, where does he play? He's a bit mad. He just runs all over the place. It feels to me, he's almost like a kid in the schoolyard. That's how I'd describe the best player in the schoolyard. He's over there 1 minute, then he's over there. He's taking all the free kicks, and he's doing it, and he is in a really poor team. But I don't think he's ever had any discipline where, if he was in those number 10 positions, and we say that's where he plays, but you've.
Hey. There's so much to unpack on this particular little clip here that the Big D just doesn't know if he's got the energy for it. But he will give it a go. But remember, as always, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as ever, if something is on your mind, if something is bubbling up inside of you, please express it in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments and he is always interested in what is on your mind. Anyway, in this clip, Paul Scholes and Jamie Carragher are going to be giving their brutally honest opinion about whether or not Bruno Fernandes should go to Al Hilal for £100 million. They're also going to be talking about Ruben Amorim and his 3-4-3 system and how it doesn't suit Manchester United. Anyway, stick around for after the clip because the Big D is going to wax lyrical about what he said on this little clip, this riveting intellectual delight from Jamie Carragher and Paul Scholes. Here they are.
And obviously showed in the end that
Bruno's performance was disappointing as well.
But we can't keep relying on him.
Can't keep relying. What do you think about? There's been talk about, like, I'm at the position now where I'm just like,
of him going,
rip the whole thing up and start again. We've got no European football next year. Try and incorporate some academy players. I'm considering, it's not my decision, but I mean, I'm considering like, maybe we do just let him go and just try and build from there. But
Bruno.
Well, they were talking about 100 million quid from him, weren't they?
I think you only get that from Saudi. Really.
Well, so they talk about Saudi.
You'd have to take that.
Oh, you can't turn that down. Do you know when you talk about this system as well? And I know he's been brilliant. He's carried the team on its back. Where does he play? What position is Bruno Fernandes? Do you see him in one of them number 10 positions? Do you see him as a holding midfield player? He almost, I'm not saying he might confuse it. He might confuse the whole system because he doesn't really have that one position for him. So I think, look, he's been brilliant, don't get me wrong, but if there's 100 million quid for him, I think you snap their hands.
100%. I've always described Bruno Fernandes as a great talent, but not a great player. In that, he's a bit, as you say, but as you say, where does he play? He's a bit mad. He just runs all over the place. It feels to me, he's almost like a kid in the schoolyard. That's how I'd describe the best player in the schoolyard. He's over there 1 minute, then he's over there. He's taking all the free kicks, and he's doing it, and he is in a really poor team. But I don't think he's ever had any discipline where, if he was in those number 10 positions, and we say that's where he plays, but Amorim wants him there. He wants him to do certain things. He wants this one to do certain things. I used to always watch him when he's even under Ollie, and you'd be trying to. We used to criticise Man United defensively about pressing from the front, and I'd be watching. I'd be commentating the United Liverpool game, and I'd be watching, and he'd just be sprinting everywhere. So he's working hard, and everyone thinks he is, but he's just killing everyone else.
Yeah, I think he's
running all over the place.
He's right. I think he does his own thing. I remember. I think it was Henry spoke when he played for Guardiola, I think, at Barcelona. He said, you're only allowed in certain areas of the pitch. Now, I think if you're a top player, you should be able to play for the best managers. I couldn't see Bruno Fernandes playing for Pep.
I think that comes from necessity, though, sometimes. I think if he was in a Pep team, because he is a great footballer, his flick, tricks, his passing ability is fantastic, and obviously he gets goals. I think at United, because he's so emotional, it becomes like I need to be over there. I think he played for a team where there's better players around him.
That's not great. It's not always great for a team, though, Adam.
I know.
I've seen him in left back, right back. I've seen him everywhere. I try and see the game from where I was as a centre midfielder. I'd see him as, where the fuck is he? I don't know where he is, you know what I mean? He could be behind me, he could be in front of me, he could be right-hand side, left-hand side. And sometimes that upsets the rhythm of a team.
Adam, could I ask you about the manager? I did a newspaper column after the final, and it wasn't just reacting to the finals. I knew it was a bad defeat for you. But I was thinking of the financial implications of, Ruben Amorim's come in, it's not his team, we get that. He's trying to build to build something, and this is like a real step back because of the financial situation. And my thing around the system is I've never been one of them, and I know a lot of people say he's got to change the system, he's got to adapt. My feeling is he shouldn't, because that's the whole point you've brought him in. That's his thing. This is what he does. It's like asking Jurgen Klopp not to press. That's his DNA. But the problem I have with the system is, if you back a manager in the transfer market, you've almost got to completely change your squad, because you need 5 or 6 centre-backs, you need 4 wing-backs. And the likelihood is the next manager of Manchester United will play a back 4. I'm 99% certain that, because most managers in the world play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Has he done enough, at Manchester United to go all in on him? I don't think he has. That'd be my weight of fear if I was running Man United, thinking, what can I cling to? I don't expect United to win every week. Of course, they're not a great team. But what is there I can cling to? Anything in 6 months that makes me feel this is the guy that we're all going to go in on? Because for me, there's no football. Basically, the only thing that works is putting Harry Maguire up front for the last 5 minutes. And I'm not taking the piss saying that. It's like...
You are a bit, though.
No, but...
But you're right. I don't know what type of team are we? Are we a possession team? Are we a counter? I don't know.
There's nothing to hang your hat on with the manager.
I think, sorry, could I just add to that I had a good chat with Jordi Cruyff. I saw him, he was director of football at Barcelona, and he couldn't understand why a club like Manchester United had employed somebody with his own philosophy, really, that he's just his, from another club that has never, ever happened at Manchester. I spoke about the 3 at the back. Many a time we tried it, maybe a handful of times on the manager. After 10 minutes, bang, it's gone. It just doesn't suit Manchester United. And we're talking about years and years of problems here that it could cause, because we're going to trust the manager to recruit for that system. It's just...
But that's my point. But you know, it's absolutely guaranteed the next manager will play a completely different system. He just will.
That is my
and that's that fella's then got to change so much. And I just wanted to make a little point. I'm really intrigued with Alonso going to Real Madrid. Now, he's sort of been successful at Bayer Leverkusen, playing 3 at the back. Inter Milan in the Champions League, fine. It's not about this system can't work, but it's the makeup of your squad. I'm really fascinated. I just can't imagine Real Madrid playing 3 at the back.
Because Madrid don't do it, do they?
It just doesn't feel right.
Which that thought is exactly how I see Manchester United. 3 at the back. It might seem a small thing to a lot of people, but it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, and it's not working.
Rory?
See, this notion about a particular formation suiting or not suiting a particular club, it just feels so archaic. It's weird. It's like, what do you mean it doesn't suit the club? It's not the same it's not the same team as it was 15 years ago. It's not like we've got Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez playing for us, or Vidic and Scholes and Carrick. This is a completely different team. And the difference between a formation working and a formation not working is how much you practice it and getting the right personnel to play in that particular style. Which brings me on to the next point. Why do we have to get rid of the whole squad? We don't need to do that. What players can't learn a new position? So they play 3 centre-backs now at Manchester United. We've got 6 centre-backs. What? They can't learn how to play with 3 in the back. That just doesn't make sense. The only real difference between this particular formation and, say, a 4-3-3 is this one doesn't use wingers. So which is why we're getting rid of Garnacho, Anthony, and we're getting rid of Rashford as well. Because they don't fit in this particular system, and there's too much of a difference between a number 10 and a winger or an inside forward. Diallo has made the transition quite well, but he's young. Fair enough. Good for him. And this new formation, it relies heavily on wing-backs. Well, we've got wing-backs now. We've got Dalot, and we've got Luke Shaw can play left wing-back, no problem. And we've got Dorgu as well, so it's fine. We just need to cherry-pick a couple of signings that suit the system in the final third. That's it. This whole notion about getting 5 or 6 centre-backs and completely revamping the squad and just tearing everything down and then just buying 18 players, it just doesn't make sense. In what world is that logical? It's silly. And just to add, that business with they mentioned Real Madrid. They're going to be playing 3-4-3 or something now moving forward. They're not used to playing in these different kinds of systems. Well, historically, they've played 4-3-3, they've played 4-2-1-2, and now they're going to play 3-4-3. Real Madrid are not necessarily associated with a particular formation. They are just associated with winning the Champions League. And this thing about Man United not being used to 3-4-3, they're always used to 4 at the back. They said that about 4-4-2. Man United have played with so many formations over the years. They were playing 4-3-3 under when Best and Charlton were playing. They played 4-3-3 under Fergie at one point, and they also played at one point 3-4-3 under Fergie, but you didn't realise it because they started at 4-3-3. So I think it was in the Champions League final in 2008. I mean, they set up at 4-3-3, but they had Wes Brown at right back. He's not a wing back, so he used to cut inside, and it used to create 3 at the back with Wes Brown, Vidic and Ferdinand, and Owen Hargreaves used to push to the right, and then Patrice Evra would move forward, and it would almost be a 3-4-3, so it would be Hargreaves on the right, Evra on the left, with Carrick and Scholes in the middle. And then up front, he had Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez just doing whatever they wanted. So that worked really well. So what's Paul Scholes talking about? The guy's he's talking nonsense. It's just football and a formation. Now, whether or not the 3-4-3 works out at Man United is a different kettle of fish. But I've said this time and time and time again. This team just needs a little bit of magic dust up front now, and then it soars up the table. I'm not saying we're going to win the league next season, but if we get the right signings that can score some goals, that'll get some confidence in this team, and then we'll skyrocket up the table. And anyway, on to Bruno Fernandes. I can totally understand the rationale with accepting 100 million for Bruno Fernandes. What I would argue is that there's no need to do that. We've got enough money to be able to buy the players that we need to be able to skyrocket that team up the table. And we need to keep Bruno Fernandes. You don't sell your best players. You just don't. And if we sold Bruno Fernandes, who are we going to replace him with? It's easy to say, I'll just take 100 million for Bruno Fernandes. But if we're going to buy a 24-year-old next Bruno Fernandes, he's going to cost 120 million himself. And what's Jamie Carragher on about? He's a brilliant talent, but not a great player. And he wouldn't do well at Man City. Sometimes I just don't understand what's going on in some of these pundits in their minds. I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, he might not necessarily suit Man City specifically, but if you put him at Real Madrid, he wins Ballon d'Ors, no problem. Just give him a free roll up front. And in the number 10. He's an old school number 10. And Wayne Rooney and Paul Scholes going on about Bruno Fernandes, he's all over the shop. Wayne Rooney used to do the same thing. Wayne Rooney used to be all over the place. And that was in a great team then. So Bruno Fernandes, he's just trying to carry Man United to, well, carry them up the table. And he was fantastic a few years ago under Ollie as well. And it wasn't until we bought Cristiano Ronaldo and we took the emphasis off Bruno Fernandes that team nosedived and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ended up getting the sack. So getting rid of Bruno Fernandes is not the right move. You keep Bruno Fernandes in one of those number 10 positions, and he's fine in one of those number 10 positions. If he knows he's got someone that can help him out up front, like Cunha, for example, or whichever striker we buy, whoever it is, then he might not necessarily feel the need to, try and do everything because he's got someone to delegate some of the responsibilities of carrying that team to. But yeah. Do you know, I'll be glad when all of this is sorted. I just want Man United to just get the players that they're going to get them nice and early, and then they can go on the pre-season tours, or they can go on their holidays first, and then they can go on pre-season, get this team up and running, and then see where we are come October. And I mean, I really want Ruben Amorim to do well at Man United for a number of reasons. For the obvious reason that I'm a Man United fan. But also, as well, to prove that football is not a complicated game. That if you stick with the manager who sticks with his principles, and they get the astute signings, not the complete revamp, the astute signings that manager needs, and then they skyrocket up the table. That's it. Anyway, what do you guys think? Should we get rid of Bruno? For 100 million, would you take that, or would you keep him? Thoughts in the comments. Big D will see you in the next one.